Hi guys, it's day 28 today. Um, I'm going to try and keep this one relatively short. I'm in quite a lot of pain. I've posted on Facebook and stuff. I've got really bad gout in my right foot. And yeah, I've kind of discovered over the last couple of days that, you know, bad anxiety and stress can be a major contributing factor to gout. And I'm quite susceptible to it anyway, so I normally get one or two attacks a year, but over the last 2 months I've had like two really bad attacks, and right now, yeah, it's not good. So I'm on quite strong anti-inflammatories, and yeah, it's not really touching the pain at the moment. Um, but enough about me moaning about my pain. I'm going to fight through it. I had therapy today, so I was gout and about, as one of my friends put it earlier. Yeah, I had to go to Marble Arch, which is where my therapist works from. Um, yeah, I don't know if anyone knows, but in London they're doing quite a lot of protesting at the moment, for it's all about climate change and, you know, trying to save the world. And it basically means that quite a lot of London's gridlocked because they're blocking roads, and it was really weird. Marble Arch, it's kind of like got this weird festival atmosphere. There's like stalls and people camped up everywhere and entertainers on the street. It's a bit weird. I had a slight issue with them because on Tuesday just gone, I was supposed to have a therapy session, but because of the protesters, my therapist couldn't get to work, which means I went all the way to Marble Arch with really bad gout, only to find out I wasn't going to have my session, and I had to come all the way back home, and I was in agony. I was really, and that really annoyed me. And that's what I want to talk about today, because what came up in my session is basically my emotions and how I kind of express myself. My therapist asked me, just in conversation about the therapy session that was cancelled on Tuesday, how I felt, how that made me feel. And I just said I was mildly annoyed, I guess, and I actually felt worse for him because he got stuck in traffic, and that meant he missed like work, and that was money that he'd lost. So I didn't really care about, you know, the fact that I kind of had to trek to a really busy part of London with a really bad foot and then come all the way back again for nothing. And yeah, we kind of talked around that a lot today, and the fact that I find it very hard to express my emotions, especially the negative ones. And it's really fascinating because I can count on one hand the amount of times I've really gotten angry in my life. And the last time was maybe 2, 3 years ago, and I remember that quite vividly. I got very angry, kind of flipped my lid almost. Didn't get violent. I'll never get violent because I don't. Violence is not something I want to get involved with. But I got very angry. A lot of harsh words were said to someone I cared about, and yeah, it was a horrible experience. Immediately after I had that kind of emotional reaction, I was devastated. I like broke down in tears, and I cried my eyes out for an hour, just thinking that I'd ruined a relationship that I really cared about, and I'd upset someone that I love. And that's how I deal with anger. I don't deal with it, is essentially what I'm saying. I think I spent most of my childhood not really expressing very many emotions. I was quite emotionally repressed. Certain, I don't know, I don't want to say it's the way I was brought up, but, you know, what else can I say? We weren't kind of encouraged to talk about our feelings or embrace our emotions, so it was almost like you had to kind of feel things in private, as it were. You know, you'd feel embarrassed if, you know, you had to talk about things. So me personally, I tended to just kind of turn inwards and bottle everything up that I was going through, and that has serious repercussions. I mean, it may seem like a good coping strategy, but it's not at all, because you tend to bottle things up, and you know, you can only take so much pressure before you have to release it somehow, because those feelings don't go away just because you've kind of repressed them and you've hidden them and you're kind of sitting on them. it might help you in the moment to not get upset and not, overreact or, react in a way that you don't want to. Um, but yeah, those negative feelings, they don't just disappear, they don't just evaporate. They're there. They start kind of building up inside. And unfortunately, what happens is you probably get to a certain point where, you have to release them, and it can be like a highly charged emotional moment, like it was for me, where I just kind of flipped my lid and just I couldn't bear it anymore, and it all just came flooding out of me in a way that I was quite scared of, because I'm not used to expressing myself, as it were. It's frightening, it really is, and it's something that it's just become second nature to me now, to not get angry, to not want to, get into confrontations with people. And that's all well and good. It's good to kind of, turn the other cheek and not, start arguments and things like that. But the problem with that is, even when it's justifiable that you can be angry and annoyed and upset with somebody, you tend to view that as a bad thing. So you repress everything. All the negative stuff just gets filed away. And it's really not healthy. I can attest to that, because, it comes out in other ways. And for me, it's kind of come out in my depression and my anxiety. My anxiety is really bad. And I think it's because I repress all these feelings. I've got a lot of fear inside me. And, it's fear that stretches back for years. And it's fear I've never kind of faced up to. And it's fear I've never processed properly. And yeah, there's a lot of anger there. There's a lot of negative kind of emotions. But what we're kind of talking about now, me and my therapist, is that, anger in and of itself isn't a bad thing. It's how we process it and how we express it. That's what matters. And, he's trying to kind of convince me that it's okay to be angry sometimes. Like Tuesday just gone, like the example I mentioned, he was angry on my behalf, which seems weird. He told me it was completely justifiable for him to be for me to be angry with, not just with the protesters, but with him for cancelling the session. And but that's kind of an alien concept to me, to let myself be angry and let myself feel the things that I feel, like the bad things that I think are bad. So yeah, I guess I've got a lifetime's worth of repressed emotions to figure out how to deal with. I don't know. He's got a big job on his hands. That's what I'm gonna say there. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna try and start being more mindful. He told me to maybe start like an anger journal. So in moments where I do get frustrated about things and do get angry, to just make a note and keep a record of it. And ask yourself, is it justifiable? Should you have been angry? Because sometimes anger is a correct response in a situation. My problem is I just close off completely. Anger to me is bad, and if it's bad, it means I shouldn't do it, and I shouldn't get angry, and I shouldn't get frustrated, and I shouldn't get annoyed at people. I should just hold it all inside and not bother everyone else with my emotions. So yeah, that's going to be interesting, because I've gotten to the point where I don't feel like I get angry. I give this, like, outwardly I seem quite laid back, and I don't get stressed or angry about a lot of things. But I think deep down, maybe even on a subconscious level, I do have these feelings just kind of building up and building up and building up. And I don't want to kind of erupt again like I did. That's not a healthy way to express your emotions. So yeah, I think I'm going to start trying to kind of focus on, really understanding the way I feel and letting myself feel angry about things if it's worth being angry about. But doing it in a healthy way, so not erupting and overreacting and shouting and being a mental. I'm mental enough already. I don't need that on my case. So yeah, that's what I'm going to try and focus on for now. Won't have another therapy session for 2 weeks because he's on holiday. So, God, see what happens. But I'll leave it there for now, guys. And take my advice, if you're going into London at all over the next few days, probably give like Marble Arch, Bond, like Oxford Street a bit of a miss, unless you want to see all like the protests going on and stuff. I find it quite morbidly fascinating, but at the same time very annoying because it stopped me having therapy. But yeah, I'll leave it there for now. Thanks, guys.